Um, Thank you very much, Babukar. Thank you, Chairman, National Youth Council, my colleague Taslima, and National Female Representative at the National Youth Council of the Gambia. I have been saying this since the news of Lamin's dismissal got to us as youth leaders in this country, and we have expressed our dissatisfaction with the dismissal and the manner in which the dismissal was done by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. But this is not just about the dismissal of Lamin Dabo as the executive director of the National Youth Council. For a lot of us, this is standing up to make sure that the National Youth Council does not become a part of partisan politics in this country, that the National Youth Council continues to be an institution that stands to represent the needs of every single young person in this country, that the National Youth Council continues to respect and work with young people regardless of their political affiliation, regardless of their demographic background, regardless of their gender, what they believe in, or the beliefs, religious practices that they follow. This is something that we have been talking about for the longest time, and the fact that the ministry took this step to dismiss Lamin, and we've had, when we came here today, we said we were not going to get emotional with our conversations, that we were going to come out here and make our demands known and take a clear stance as to what we want to be done as young people of this country. But it is rather unfortunate that somebody in a position as high as the Deputy Permanent Secretary will go on national TV and make allegations like he did at the National Youth, the Executive Director of the National Youth Council. We as young people who have been working with this man for the longest time have came out in our light numbers to express how dissatisfied we are and how much of a good leader he was. If there were any issues of incompetence, it should have been from us as the youth fraternity and not the Deputy Permanent Secretary. And he did it in the least professional and unethical ways on national TV, which takes us to the conversation that this is just beyond dismissing someone for any other reason but personal grudges, which clearly are behind the motives as to why he was dismissed. Now, coming back to our demands, for us, this is not just about getting Lamin back, reinstated back as the executive director of the National Youth Council. For us, this is us building and standing up for an institution, the only institution that we can look up to or go back to as young people when we want our rights respected and promoted in this country. For the longest time, we've been labeled and tagged and called names, called lazy, all these things, and we've let them go. But this one, we're saying no, that we are not going to stand by and let it go, that we are going to do whatever it is that we can do within the our legal rights to make sure that not only Lamin is reinstated, but we look into the amendment of all instruments that empowers the government to have interference in the work of the National Youth Council as an institution. We want autonomy, complete autonomy. We don't want to be semi-autonomous. We want complete autonomy. We want independence. We want to be able to serve our mandate without interference from the government through its ministry of the youth and sports. This is what we want, and this is clearly going to be on the top of our scale of preference when we make our demands to the state about this issue. And we are also going to make sure that moving on, we've been called radicals before for taking onto the streets to protest for our rights. We've been labeled and called names for exercising our democratic and constitutional rights to protest and freedom of assembly and association. So what we are going to do this time as civil society, as youth leaders, we will not take on the streets and protest. We might not take on the streets and protest, might not. But what we are going to do, if the government does not take a stance to reinstate Lamin Dabo, if the government does not take a stance to work with us to amend the act that gives them the power to interfere in the institution of the National Youth Council, as civil society, we are going to boycott the National Youth Council. We will not have anything to do with the National Youth Council. We will not work with the National Youth Council. We will continue our work to impact the lives of young people, of our people on the ground, and impact change on our own. And maybe it might be difficult to do this. Maybe it might be difficult to take a stance on our own, but we are going to do what we have to do to make sure the government gives us the respect we deserve as young people of this country. Now, it is about time that we stop given that it is about time that the government stops turning to young people when they need us. It is about time they respect us after elections. It is about time they respect us after they need us to be their campaign materials. We are saying that it is not happening again, that we are used as campaign tools when they need us, and we are thrown behind the back of the building after they are done, and we are not consulted in any of their policy-making processes. We are not consulted in any of their decision-making processes. We are marginalized and sidelined, and they do to us what they want to do to us, and we are saying it's enough. We've had enough of that, and we are not going to allow it again. And as young people, we are going to stand together. We are going to speak in one voice. We are going to take our stance, and we are going to make sure that it is respected by the government, that we voted into office to represent and serve in our best interest. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, Lala, for that. I think we're coming to the end of this press conference, and I think it was very clear that we all heard what had happened. Because it is a press conference, we will leave the media, of course, to ask questions that we will answer, and henceforward, we are also going to continue with our actions as Lala stipulated, that we have actions that we are going to take, and of course, we will take those actions that we are working on currently, because there was a long, long day of who our elected representatives of the councils were making decisions that could have delayed those actions to be published and shared with the media. However, it is going to be a follow-up thing that we are going to push on to ensure that it reaches the final stage. The questions are now open for the media for any question they want to ask. Okay, yes, so what we will do is like you will tell us where you're from, the media house and whatever. So we go, yes, let's start.
Yes, my name is Mr. Kerr, Pineapple Online News.
Thank you.
So my question, I think, falls to the chairperson. I prefer to use the word chairperson. Would you explain, you said that the minister, when you had a meeting with them, the authorities, they said they are thinking of a new person coming in. At any time, have they made any clear indication who this new person is? If this new person comes, what then will your minister, will the National Youth Council, what will your stand be? Will you rally behind this new guy, or will you rebel against this new guy? Who is this new guy?
Anyway, at personal level, the information that they've asked me to do, they've asked me to advertise the position for an immediate replacement for him, which I said I was going to hold on to that until we exhaust all the things that we wanted to have, discussions that we want to have with them, to ensure that Lamin is reinstated. So they did not have, in fact, if they have it, that's not to my knowledge. But the issue, what they told me that was very clear, was for me to advertise the position.
Well, how can they ask you to advertise a position and then they say that they have a new
what they said,
in mind?
What they said, they don't say, I'm not saying that they said they have a new person in mind. They said they want to change for a new brain to come to council and let them see that one too. Not necessarily like they have somebody in mind who should come. Do you understand?
Thank you. Yes, okay. Any other questions? Can you read? Okay, yes. Who is your question director to everyone else? Okay, no problem, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much. I think holding government accountable is a process. And these are among the processes that we are going to do. And among them is to tell the government that you need to correct what you have done, which is not right. I'll just give you an example to show an indication of what you are saying, if it happens to be in place, is that if land is removed today, they can remove anybody tomorrow. And if that anybody is removed tomorrow,
anyway, I think those are unfounded allegations based on the fact that since the inception of the National Youth Council in 2000, this council that is in office has achieved. When I came to the National Youth Council, we were struggling with one old vehicle. We were only struggling with one old vehicle. Today, after coming to office in 2017, I was able to secure 2 bright new vehicles from the Chinese embassy. Since the inception of the National Youth Council in 2000, all the chairpersons who came before me fought very hard to get a landed property for National Youth Council where we were going to build a National Youth House. It was not possible until when I am the chairperson of the National Youth Council. Through our negotiations with the government, they were able to allocate a land to us around the airport. Today, we have fought very hard. Almost all these reform mechanisms that we have in this country, we have young people that are represented in those mechanisms. You go to TRRC, you have Mustafa Mopuka representing the young people. We did the interview. And 3 of the people that we have from that interview that we did to have a young person that is going to represent us at TRRC were all absorbed. Our first candidate is now the current Deputy Executive Secretary of the TRRC. When that one went, they appointed her as Deputy Executive Secretary. We sent is it Ablai Ba or Usman Ba? That one went and they've appointed that one. Instead of being a commissioner, he was appointed. Mustafa was the 3rd person. Mustafa was the one that we later agreed for. That one has to stay as commissioner. You go to almost all the mechanisms. The CRRC, Yankuba Manjang is sitting for the young people in that team too. So if people said we are at the National Youth Council and we are working there on our selfish interests, I would have stayed in America when I went to America. If at all I'm selfish, I would have stayed in America and probably nobody will travel to United States again from National Youth Council. Because we know how we suffered when the then executive director went to United States and stayed. We know how National Youth Council suffered in getting to that place, in getting visas to go to and attend international forums. You know, so we as a council, probably some of us, when we started, we were within the age. By virtue, that's why we said, even the congresses that normally happens at regions, we tell them you have to be at 33 years. And before you finish your two years, you might be at 35 or 36. But that's normally the chairpersons at the region. But at the level of the chairperson of the National Youth Council, there is no age limit stipulated. It would be sort of something that is very good and welcoming if we get a young person as young as 20 or 30 years or 18 years to become the chairperson of the National Youth Council. I'm sure all the people who ever served National Youth Council as chairperson, I'm the youngest among them. All the people who ever served as chairperson of National Youth Council, I am the youngest among them. So that tells you that we, the team at the National Youth Council, work tremendously well. Some of our young people are here. There used to be a time you cannot even write to UN agencies to support your programs. But today they run after us. They come to National Youth Council to say, we have this project, we want you people to do this for us. This is supposed to be implemented by this organization, they cannot do it, so can you please implement it for us? So the team at the National Youth Council today are a very proud team. All our efforts have borne fruit, and that's what I always tell people, and I sometimes, even if I brag, even with Minister yesterday, I told him that I have nothing to lose. Even my children can feel proud that what happened in my time at the National Youth Council has never happened in any other person's time at the level at the National Youth Council. So we are not there for our selfish interests. Whoever is saying that they're just trying to probably tarnish the image of myself and the entire council, the council is working day and night. We don't have even closing time at National Youth Council. People whom we appoint for works, when they are coming, we tell them we work 24 hours per day and 7 days a week. This is what we tell them. So we don't have time. Sometimes you don't even sleep. Sometimes I'll be awake up to 10, up to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, just talking to young people, trying to solve issues. So that's basically the issue. That's those, you know, in any organization you work, people might have said things about you, but those are unfounded.
I think I had actually had this conversation with people on social media yesterday. When issues like this happen, I think it's important that we stay on these issues, because right now our priority should be how we get our institutional problems fixed within the National Youth Council. And right now what we are saying is we want changes to happen within the council. We want an amendment of the National Youth Council Act. We want the government to respect our voices as young people. And we should be united on this. Now, when this comes to an end, when we have our wishes granted, when we have our demands respected by the government, we can talk about whether or not the National Youth Council is doing enough. We can talk about how we take steps as young people to change that. We can talk about how we are supposed to work together and collectively put efforts into making sure that if the National Youth Council is not doing enough for us, we speak up about it on an institutional level and we bring about changes. But at this moment, talking about these issues is just something dragging us from the main attention of the issue.
We will be precise in the questions also and not to divert attention as well. Yes.
I have two questions.
Okay.
One for Lara and the other one for Justin. The one for Lara is you said you might not protest, but on social media I've seen a lot of you talking about protest. So what happens if this youth has to go out? Would you rally them to support? And the other question for Justina is that do you really think this is a political move, removing the executive director?
We respect the views and differing opinions. When issues like this, obviously we are going to have difference in opinions and views, but our main objective, all of us, our main motive is to get one thing and one thing only. So obviously we are going to get to a certain point where we might have disagreements within ourselves as young people, but we respect each other enough to be able to stand up for each other, to be able to tolerate each other and respect each other's views and work together, have dialogues and see what is best for us to do moving on. And if it gets to a point where we have disagreements, we will handle it within ourselves and we will do what is best for us as young people. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. So, let Tasima respond to that question.
My thing is a lot.
Thank you so much for the question. I wouldn't say it's a political move. What I can only say is that as young people, we feel it is the wrong call. And we demand that government rescind its decision. And even if it's a political move, I think it would be very amateur to do. Because why would you fire someone who is doing extremely well and has transformed the institution and has been doing very well just because you feel that it's a political move? If it is so, we felt then the decision is very amateur and it's something that we wouldn't have expected. And again, I wouldn't be saying authoritatively it is. But because I had a conversation with someone that I believe is close to the presidency, and the individual denied that even the presidency is aware of this decision by the minister. And the chairman mentioned that the ministers or the ministry took this action backing themselves by the act that empowers the minister to relieve the executive director of his or executive secretary of his position. But even doing so, what I found very fishy and not acceptable is for a permanent secretary to write dismissing the executive director, in fact saying this is in agreement with the minister. Why not the minister himself, who claims that the act empowers him to actually even relieve the executive director of his duties? Why wouldn't this letter come from the ministry? Why wouldn't the letter that terminates the contract of the executive director not state and quoting the state act that the minister is backing himself on? Which section? What were the basis? If there are any issues or like talk about gaps, you confirm the guy. He acted for 2 years in his capacity as an acting executive director, and it's confirmed. The board also mentioned that going by the files, you could also see 2 letters that indicated that the executive director was appointed in an acting role, and then after he's been dismissed initially, it's been reinstated again and addressed as to act as an executive director. And again, you are terminating the individual, same position that the person holds, and then addressing the person as an acting executive director. It doesn't tell well, it doesn't add well. In fact, shockingly, is the ministry is addressing in the letter the wrong address that the National Youth Council occupies. The National Youth Council, we all know, that left the stadium way long time ago. So the ministry is telling us as young people, we don't even know where the National Youth Council is located. It's unacceptable. And this is what I have to respond.
Please, let me precise the question and also my colleagues precise the answers. Thank you.
Thank you. I have
Can you make it one so that the other people have
yes, for the chairman and Mr. Chairman, I want to ask you about the reaction of the Deputy Permanent Secretary and what he said about Lamin Dabo. Is it this strategy which was pertaining to the comments that Lamin Dabo made during when the boat capsized and the 20 people lost their lives? Don't you think all these runs that were made on state TV were basically directed to those comments that he made during when the Gambia was in a state of mourning? And the second question is
Thank you. Sorry, let's take one. Sorry. Yes, please. Yes, Chairman.
Anyway, I might not be able to answer that directly because I am not in the, I cannot, step in for the Deputy Permanent Secretary, the reason why he said those. But I know one thing, the post in question that he's talking about was not even Lamin's post. That was the council's post. Before Lamin posted that on social media, he sent it to our National Youth Council page. We look at it, we edit it, then that was the time then we asked him to share it on Facebook. But what he's saying, there was not even any portion of that post that questioned the credibility of the government. There was never a portion on that message. So those things probably the deputy permanent secretary knows the reason why he said them. They are best known to him, and I don't want to, talk much on that. What I know, that letter comes from the National Youth Council, not Lamin. Lamin is our admin secretary. He is our secretary. He's the secretary to the council. Whatever we decide as a council, it is Lamin who writes it, sign it, and send it to whoever we want to communicate to. So that communication was not Lamin's communication. It is my communication as chairman of the National Youth Council. Thank you.
Very much, Chairman. I think just to clarify something, this is why we're emphasizing that we're not taking this issue lightly, simply because these are institutional failures that occur. Because if you're monitoring somebody to say that because of your statement we're doing this, or because of your statement we are not doing this, it means then we don't have autonomy. And this is why we're not taking this lightly, and all young people are behind us on this issue. I think it's important and fair. Yes.
There's this sort of campaign on social media
What is fueled by my office itself?
The demonstration to bring Lamin back.
Anyway, me personally, as chairman of the council, when this thing happened, I was copied in the letter that was sent to Lamin. When I got the copy, the first thing that I do is to meet the minister. When I got the information, before even having my letter, I called all my council members, told them this is what we have, and this is the issue at hand. But I don't expect each and any one of you to go on social media. Let's stay calm. I will meet the minister tomorrow, and from there I will call a council meeting, then we will discuss, and council will make a decision. And exactly that's what we have done. Those that are, even those that created the WhatsApp group or whatsoever, I've talked to Nyang. I told them, you are civil society, we are representing you. This is what we are doing. If you also have another approach that you want to do other things, that's left to you, but let it be peaceful. But as far as we are concerned, we are trying everything possible to engage the ministry so that Lamin could be reinstated. Their decision, they could rescind it, Lamin be reinstated. We move on. That had always been our stand. So I think I've answered your question. Yes.
Okay, I'm productively answered. So my question is open, and like Lala talked about the amendment of she talked about the amendment. In the ministry side. So as a youth council, like, what are you planning to do? What do you foresee in that to make so can not actually with this we just sit and hear that that dismiss. It can happen to you or someone else working with you. Your ministry. Your council. So what do you foresee in this?
Okay, thank you so much. To respond to your question quickly, I think at the level of the council, already there is a bill that was developed. There is already a written bill that was validated. The only thing that was left is for it to go to the National Assembly. But it comes at a time when we were almost getting to the 2016 presidential election. And the then Minister of Youth and Sport said, I'm not going to be the minister who is going to implement this bill. It is going to be the new minister. Why not I wait on the new minister to come, then he will take this bill to the National Assembly for adoption. Which still, when the new government came in 2017, they said they are going on a constitutional reform and all those reforms. That when I came to the council, that was my first project that I want to embark on. But I seek advices from other partners. They're telling us, since the country is building a new constitution, it might not be logical for us to come up with this bill now, because when the constitution came and it goes into conflict with parts of this bill, then it means this bill had to be scrapped. But until now, I am every day telling my secretariat that please look for funds for me so that we can revalidate this youth bill to go to the National Assembly, and then even the name of the council would have been changed to a national youth agency where it will be an independent institution responsible to look at the issues of young people in this country. Yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fatou Samba. I'm delegate Gambian Talents TV. Jotaay bi rafet na waaye dégg ma kenn mu làkk wolof tey am na ñu bari ñoo xam ne ñu ngi seetaan ndawi dëkk bi dafa am solo lool si dëkk bi waaye gis nañ ne youth council bi fu mu nekk nii ñëpp a ngi wax Lamin xanaa youth council bi amu leen keneen ku Lamin koo xam ne pare na tey am na ay jatuwaay ak mënuwaay pour taxawal li nga xam ne mooy council beneen bi moo nekk ne wax bu bari na lool ndax yéen seen ministre yi ñu bari ñu ngi wax yeneen ministre yaa ngi ba waaye ministry of youth and sports dox gis ne ndawi dëkk bi ñu bari ay jàmbaar la tubaarkalla macha allah waaye ndawi dëkk bi fu mu nekk nii ñu bari ñu ngi dellu gannaaw instead of dem kanam lan moo ko waral ministre bi ku indi sa proposal oo indi sa ay projet ñu tegal la ko benn place dafa mel ni farfalaate moo fi am ma bëgg a xam ne yéen youth discourage seen ministre bi muy youth and sports ndax amu leen benn discourage bu leen def si ministre bi.
Jërëjëf, I will answer. Just because of the language.
Dengan suruh kamu punya agak garau lah. I can respond.
Chairman, don't mind that. ok so léegi lu ñoo def mooy pour mu gën a yombaa ñun Fatou question bu mu laajte man dinaa ko tontu si olof su ko defee chairman dina ko tontu in Mandinka so that suñ listeners si tamit ñu am the idea of laajte bu la Fatou nekk di laajte dégg ngeen ok jërëjëf Fatou sa laajte bi am na solo pour ñu xamal la rek ne suñ njëlbeeni wax bi buñ ko dooree wax nañ ne nekkuñ fi di wax pour ne Lamin moom as an individual comme lu ñoo wax Lamin ak nit ak boppam loolu taxut ñuy wax fii man sax mun naa nekk executive director bu National Youth Council ku ma gën a ndaw mun naa nekk executive director bu National Youth Council so kon du turi Lamin bi wala moo rëy wala moo màgga bu nga xam ne nii looloo tax ñu ngee xeex lii lu tax ñu ngee xeex lii mooy dañ bugg a façon yii bu mu amaati lu tax lu ñoo mun a moytoo façon yi bu mu am Lamin tey mun naa am liggéey bu nga xam ne mun naa am sax bu nga xam ne mooy ëppa wala mooy gën bu National Youth Council te ñun tey su Lamin demoon tey ëllëg dinañ am ku nga xam ne mun nañ ko faa teg pour mu doxal liggéeyi National Youth Council bi waaye mbiri tege boobu noonu ñuy teg foofu nit si place bi moo nekkut ñun si suñ loxo soo loolu lañ bugga mu nekk si suñ loxo ba nga xam ne ñun ba ku nga xam ne moo jógee Koyna ba ku nga xam ne moo jógee Amdala ba ku nga xam moo jógee Kaatong ñëpp dinañ mën a xam ne ndaw yi dëkk bi ñoo teg foofu noonu kooku ba kenn mënut koo génnee comme ni ñoo électé suñ council members yi soo coow li nekkut mbiri Lamin rek coow li nekkut Lamin ak boppam rek coow li mooy institution bi muy barabi liggéeyukaay bi naka la ñoo fexe ba nga xam ne képp ku nga xam ne mu ngi faa jël dogal képp ku nga xam ne nii mu ngi faa jël pour nii na ko def in consultation with the young people comme nu ma ko waxee am na ku gën a ndaw ku nga xam ne mu ngi fa tey mun naa jël place yi Lamin te liggéey bi dina dox parce que Lamin def na fa liggéey bu nga xam ne nii ñaata yoon du fi nekk ñaata yoon mu ngi tukki ñaata yoon dafa délégué mu ngi am youth organisation youth group yu nga xam ne comme ni ko chairman waxee dafa leen a wax ne def leen lii rek ñu def ko an loolu dem si liggéey bi soo kon nekkut ne dañ nekk di coow pour affaire yi Lamin fii nii lu ñoo coow mooy institution bi mu am matuwaay yu nga xam ne nii dina sàmm wante ak axi ndaw yi ak yellefi ndaw yi su ko defee ndaw yi seen boppa ñoom ñooy mun a seet kan la ñoo tànn ak ku ñoo jël affaire yi ministre bi laajte nga lu am solo si man suma opinion mooy du ma si wax parce que loolu ministre bi la affecte seen liggéey mooy ñu fexe lépp lu nga xam ne nii mu ngay dem si wàllu ndaw ñu def ko suñ ko defee baax na suñ ko defut will still put pressure pour hold them accountable waaye ndax project si ak yàgg yooyu noonu loolu moom man du ma si comment waaw
ndax yéen ndaw yi parce que tey yéen a fi toogal ndaw yi yéen ay baati ndaw yi ndax yéen ñi nga xam ne yéen a fi toogal ndaw yi yéen a ngi kontaan si ministre bi su dee kontaan leen wax leen pour garantie seetaan su ko defee ñu xam ne am na lu gars yi war a def te defuñ ko
su fekkee yaa ngi wax ministre yi loolu youth si rek la affect ñun am nañ kuréel gu ñu ëmba kuréel googu mu ñu ëmba mooy National Youth Council ñu ngi nii dem boo mu ngi fi lépp lu ñu naxari si ñoom dañ dee dem si ñoom ñu wax leen ñoom léegi seen responsibility mooy ñu dem ak ministre bi soo ñun duñ détermine lu ñu neex ak lu ñu neexut si ñoom parce que duñ ko mun a wax so now but like hello for the listeners Dembo I'll be happy. No, Dembo, I will suggest for our Mandinka listeners, you just, yes.
Okay, I do it once and for all. Okay.
My question is regarding the fact that this is not the first time such is happening. The National Youth Council was going to be dissolved, if I'm not mistaken, and the youth have to take an action to make sure that that did not happen. This council wouldn't have been here. Now they are going after who? The executive director. This is a trend. What is your relationship with the, like she said, how is your relationship with the national, with the Minister of Youth? Because it seems like they are trying to eliminate the National Youth Council. They try to liquidate it. So please, it needs to be addressed.
Anyway, just to respond to your question, I think before this, there was a very cordial relationship between us and the ministry. In fact, when the current minister came, after our second engagement with him, we all believed that we now have a minister. That was what we were saying, because he listens a lot. He will always ask. That's the type of person we had as minister.
The current one.
The current one. So the honestly speaking, the relationship between National Youth Council and the ministry is very cordial, and is still very cordial. So for that one, I can say that for free. We have no issues with them. We have no problems with them.
So when they were trying to eliminate the National Youth Council, it was cordial, and now that they are trying to,
no. What I'm saying is, the relationship between us and the ministry is cordial. Probably ministry might have some plans against certain individuals that we might not know. I cannot talk on that. But as a council, our relationship with them is very cordial. We don't have issues. Even when they dissolve the council, when I receive the letter, I go to the ministry. Then we are having governments as our minister. I went to him. I told him this decision is wrong. You shouldn't do this. I told him, you have to rescind this decision. He said, okay, but before I rescind my decision, bring your council. Council members that were here, I bring all of them. The only reason why he dissolved the council, he addressed that when that person was sitting down. That person became the best friend to him before he left that ministry.
So you have one problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
We're going to highlight what we have spoken so that we can take this in the manner we
because as a council, we are to advise government. We are not to attack government. And you cannot advise somebody by going to social media and advise that person. So that's what happened. That's what created that problem that led to the dissolution of the council. And when it happens, I took leadership. I went to the ministry, had discussions with them, have a frank talk with them. This is what you can do, this is what you cannot do. At the end of the day, we sat and reasoned as matured people, as partners in development. We resolved that issue. So that's why when this issue also came, I did the same thing. Because we have that smooth relationship between them. That's why I even got that had to go to the ministry again and sit with them and talk to them on this issue.
Okay, thank you very much.
So, and wow, sa laajte bi naa ko answer na. Li ma la wax ne ñun ak suñ ministry bi waxuma ne xale yi parce que ñun si suñ office bi National Youth Council ñu ngi liggéey ak xale yi. mun naa ñun ñu kontaan si ministry bi fekk xale yi kontaan ñun si ministry bi waaye su ma bëggee tontu loolu tamit su ma waxee ne we are very happy dañ kontaan si ministry bi xale yi mun nañ taxaw fale ñu ne he's a hypocrite loolu mun naa happen so man suma relationship ak ministry bi is very cordial boobu mun naa taxaw fu nekk wax ko loolu du suma problème waaye this we are talking of a general issue that is talking on behalf of the entire young people, whether young people are talking, whether all the young people are happy with the Ministry of Youth and Sports, I might not be in the position to answer that. Lol la wax ni mané suñ relationship bi ak ministry bi is cordial, we have no issue with them.
I think he said it's a press conference and not a
wow.
confrontation or back and forth.
Yeah.
We're taking it this way.
But we have follow-up.
Yeah, but you have follow-up. That's why I give you the opportunity to do the follow-up from me to the chairman.
No, but you didn't answer my question.
Okay, that's fine. You have asked the question. What we are going to do is like I'm going to count all that we have. We take the 5 questions from the media. Then we have our closing remarks by Lala, and then we call it off and continue our action, our next step. I'll take one. Who's taking one for you?
No, I should.
First of all, thank you very much for the question. I am not a member of the National Youth Council. I am not working for the National Youth Council. So I think that question is for the council members who are working within the council to respond to. Whether or not they will resign, it's for them to respond to. Yeah.
Okay, you want me to answer? Anyway, just to cut the long story short, for us, most of us, I think we are preparing to leave the council. As you have rightly mentioned, somebody has rightly mentioned here, some of us are over age. I am now an old man. I want to go and concentrate on something important about my life. I'm leaving the council by the 13th of July. And the rest of the council are also going to congresses in their various regions. And probably by the 13th of July, we're going to institute a new council that is going to run the affairs of the National Youth Council of the Gambia. So our time is almost at the end. There is nothing like going to resign within this short period of time. We are just going to complete our term because currently we are some regions supposed to even start their congresses tomorrow. So we are finishing the congresses and we will hand over peacefully to a team of young people that will come to lead the National Youth Council for the coming 2 years. Thank you. I think I've answered your question.
Thank you very much. Yes, I will take you.
Okay. My final question is, I didn't even introduce myself. So my name is Dita Diallo and I work for Advocacy International. And my final question here is an open one though, anyone can answer. Do you think the government of this country or the ministry are taking youth of this country seriously? Anyone can answer.
Okay, thank you very much. To me, personally, my own opinion is I would say no, because one example is this: you have a body that represents you in places. Okay, thank you. All right. So what I'm saying is, personally, my own opinion will be no. Because we have our elected members in all the regions of this country. We are the one who elected them in office. And you have been informed or you have been told in an act or in a document that any action that you're doing, you could do it in consultation with them. And you are not consulting them. It means then the representation is lacking. And that's where our problem comes in today. Because like somebody asked earlier, that is it only Lamin in that position? We said no. I said even a youngest person in this youth fraternity can take up the leadership of that position to manage the affairs of the youth. What we have problem is taking decisions without consulting the youth and also taking your own decision for your own interest. So I think that is what we had problem with. Okay, thank you. Final question from Flex Dan before Lala does the closing.
So my final question is to the chairperson regarding the statements you made earlier that you are with the young people. You are with the young people. And I think you kept saying that. So that's an important, very important statement. But when you say you are with the young people, then at the same time you have a very good relationship with, you say you have a good relationship with the youth, yeah, with the Ministry of Youth, yeah. But at the same time, they are trying to eliminate the National Youth Council. How can you reconcile that? And then most importantly, the youths are saying that they are ready to progress. But if you are with the youths, then where they are, you are with them. So, how far are you guys ready to go? Because they are trying to eliminate the National Youth Council. When the youth say they want to go out and protest, are you with the youths then?
Probably the way I'm going to answer that question, I wouldn't tell you that I will go out in the street, and I wouldn't tell you that the young people will go out into the street. That's where I talked about leadership. Leadership, or trying to get a result out of a struggle, is not always going out into the street to fight. There are many, many, many ways to kill a bird. And the reason why I said I'm with the young people, I'm a young person myself, and the institution that I serve, I am there to serve these young people. I'm not there to serve any old people, and I'm not there to serve anybody. And that's why my responsibility, my primary responsibility, is to advise the government on the issues of these people that I served. That is my responsibility. So nobody can part National Youth Council and the young people of this country. And whoever holds the position at the National Youth Council, basically, whether you like it or not, whether you are fulfilling your responsibility or not, you should always be with the young people. When they are dying, die with them. When they are living, live with them. That should be the person who is ready to represent the views of the young people, understanding the dynamic nature of the young people. So we as leaders, this is us. They are the people who voted for us. Probably I became national chairperson. Before becoming a national chairperson, I was chairperson in West Coast Region. I was voted twice to represent West Coast Region at the National Youth Council. So it is young people who made us to sit in these positions. So they cannot have issues and we stand other places and say we are with these other ones and we leave them lonely. Then it means their position have no use for them. That's why we are going to stand with them. But we are going to provide them leadership to ensure that we jealously guard the peace and tranquility of this country. But any person that they want to go to which is in the ambits of the law, myself, Dembo, can be the chairperson of the National Youth Council, will always be with them. I think I've answered your question.
Thank you very much, Dembo. And that was the final question.
Good.
For the media, we would like to thank each and every one of you. We would like to thank our colleagues here. And I'll hand over to Lara to give the final remarks on this occasion. To the media, we are very grateful. It was yesterday that we sent this message, and you all saw it. We are very, very grateful to your commitment in serving and giving information to the general public. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Babukar. Thank you to my colleagues with me on the table. We stand by everything we believe in, and we stand by everything that we've said here as a collective. And maybe the National Youth Council, the chairperson, was not able to get into depth of some of the things that he was asked because of, his serving an institution. But for us as activists, for us as civil society, we are not going to, not answer these questions properly. Is the Ministry of Youth and Sport serving in our interest? Are they doing enough for us as young people? No, they are not. This is the answer that every young person will give you, every concerned young person in this country will give you. They are not serving in our interest. We barely even see our minister. We barely even see our minister. So we have to be ready to speak truth to power. We cannot hide behind not wanting to be labeled or be tagged or be looked up, be called somebody who does not support. This has nothing to do with supporting or not supporting the government. It is speaking the truth when we have to speak it. The ministry is not doing enough for us as young people. And it is about time that we stand up and speak truth to them. It is about time we stand up and tell them that we want you to do more. You're not doing enough for us. Every year they're given a portion of the national budget. What do we get as young people? What opportunity have they created for us? So for us, this is not just about, like I said earlier on, this is just not about Lamin's dismissal. We are very disheartened, we are very sad, and we are very, 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 this came to us as a shock because we were not expecting it. And dismissing people who are working for state institutions or who are working for institutions like the National Youth Council is inevitable. People come and go. And probably the next person who's going to come to replace Lamin, if he is not reinstated, is going to be somebody who is equally going to do as good as Lamin has done for us as young people and the institution. But what we want is the government to respect us. What we want is the government to respect our views, to respect our opinions, to remember that they're here for us. They cannot go on making decisions like this. If Lamin, yes, had professional misconducts that he did, financial misconducts. He had issues operating the NYC as the executive director. And he was fired within reasonable explanations. Then yes, we would have accepted. But we cannot accept for somebody who has given everything that he had to serve the National Youth Council to serve us, to just be dismissed like that and nothing is done out of it. They can do it to me tomorrow, or Babukar, or any other person who serves in that position later. So this is why we are taking a stance to say the act that empowers the ministry, the act that empowers the state to interfere within the execution of the mandate of the National Youth Council as an institution, we want it to be amended. We want change. And we cannot get that change if we as young people are not ready to speak up the truth to power. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you so much for coming.